The $100,000 trap of small numbers. Imagine you're standing in front of a time machine. It doesn't take you back to the past, but opens a door looking straight into your own financial future 30 years from now. You step inside and see two versions of yourself. On the left, version A is drowning in credit card bills, stressed out, wondering why they worked hard their whole life, but their retirement account is still empty. On the right, version B is leisurely enjoying life, completely financially free with an investment portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the other person. The difference between these two does not lie in who has a higher degree. It is not about who luckily won the lottery, and it is not due to a salary gap. The difference lies solely in a habit worth exactly $10. A tiny habit that you might be doing right now, every day, without even realizing it, is silently stripping you of over $100,000. Most of us are brainwashed by a false belief. We think that to become wealthy, you must do grand things, create a billion-dollar app, buy the right stock that grows 100 times, or be born into a wealthy family. But in the real world, wealth is rarely built by sudden miracles. It is lost or accumulated through tiny leaks in the financial bucket that we unintentionally overlook every day. Meet Alex. Alex is a diligent office worker just like millions of others out there. He has a stable job, pays his bills on time, and always tells himself, "I will start investing when I get promoted." Every morning on the way to work, Alex has a hard-to-break habit. He drops by the familiar drive-through coffee shop, orders a large caramel macchiato and a toasted muffin. The total cost on the card? Exactly $10. To Alex, $10 is just pocket change. It's cheaper than a movie ticket. It's nothing compared to the rent, and spending it certainly won't bankrupt him immediately. And this is the first deadly psychological trap: blindness to small numbers. The human brain has been programmed since primitive times to focus on immediate threats or rewards. When swiping the card, Alex's brain only sees a hot cup of coffee and an instant burst of dopamine. It is completely incapable of seeing the $100,000 evaporating from his retirement fund. You see, psychology calls this a cognitive distortion of time. We always underestimate the long-term cost of tiny expenses, because how can $10 change a life? But let's talk about a basic financial concept: opportunity cost. Every $10 bill you spend is not simply $10 disappearing. It is the entire future potential of that money being extinguished. Let's do some first-grade math. $10 a day is $300 a month. In a year, you have spent $3,600 just on a snacking habit. If Alex simply stuffed this $10 into an empty jar under the bed every day, then after 30 years, he would have $108,000, a massive amount of money out of thin air. But wait, keeping money under the bed is what poor people do. The real magic, the thing that turns version B into a wealthy person, happens when we put those $10 bills to work. Albert Einstein once called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Instead of buying the second cup of coffee, version B sets up an automatic transfer of $10 a day into a simple S&P 500 index fund. The U.S. stock market has historically delivered an average return of about 8% to 10% per year. Let's see what happens next. In the first few years, the difference is almost invisible. Version B looks at the investment account and only sees a few $100s in interest, not even enough to buy a new iPhone. This is the danger zone. This is when 90% of people give up. Our psychology screams for instant gratification. We want the reward immediately, so we withdraw the money and go back to our shopping habits. But money is like rolling a snowball down from the top of a mountain. At first, it fits compactly in the palm of your hand, but keep rolling it and it starts gathering more snow, getting bigger and faster. By the 10th year, version B's snowball has started rolling on its own momentum. By the 20th year, it is as big as a house. And after 30 years, that $10 per day investment with an 8% interest rate will explode into over $440,000. If the interest rate is 10%, that number is over $670,000. Just by turning down a $10 snack every day, version B has bought himself $500,000 in the future. That is the brutal power of boring consistency. But hold on. If this math problem is so simple, if anyone can become rich with just $10, then why do most people fail to do it? Why do we know clearly that investing is good, but ultimately still choose to swipe our cards for useless things? The answer lies in a bug programmed deep inside the operating system of our brains, a psychological barrier that makes you always prioritize the present self and neglect the future self. And to solve it, you need a special psychological trick that wealthy people use to trick their own brains. Welcome to the real battlefield of money, your own mind. The biggest enemy preventing you from building wealth is not inflation or a stock market crash. It lies right between your two ears. Behavioral psychologists call this phenomenon present bias. Simply put, the human brain is designed and evolved to prioritize immediate survival and rewards. To our Stone Age ancestors, a meal today was far more important than a promise of food next year. Our brains today are still running on that ancient operating system, but living in a modern world. When you hold $10 in your hand, your present self speaks up. I work hard. I deserve this drink. Or I need to subscribe to this streaming service right now to relieve stress. Meanwhile, your future self, the 60-year-old who needs a solid retirement fund, is like a complete stranger. You do not connect to them, so you unintentionally rob their money to reward yourself today. And the trouble doesn't just stop at the $10 bill. When Alex, the guy in part 1, gets promoted and gets a raise, another extreme psychological phenomenon appears: lifestyle creep. Suddenly, the old car doesn't seem good enough anymore. The small apartment seems too cramped. Home-cooked dinners are replaced by luxurious steakhouses. Designer goods start filling the closet. Alex's income might increase by 20%, but his spending silently increases by 25%. Even though he earns more money, in reality, he is inching closer to the edge of bankruptcy. The $10 trap has now ballooned into a $50 a day trap. Lifestyle creep is extremely dangerous because it happens so smoothly. It's like carbon monoxide in your financial house. Colorless, odorless, and before you even realize it, your dream of financial freedom has suffocated. So, what is the practical solution here? How do we defeat the brain's thousands of years old operating system and keep hundreds of thousands of dollars without feeling like we're torturing ourselves? The first principle: never rely on willpower. Human willpower is a depletable resource. If every day you have to fight a fierce internal battle not to spend $10, sooner or later you will surrender. People who truly build wealth don't use willpower to save. They use a golden financial principle: pay yourself first. They consider investing a mandatory bill, just as important as rent or the electricity bill. Most people spend first and then save whatever is left at the end of the month, and usually there is not a penny left. The wealthy do the exact opposite. They invest immediately when their paycheck lands and only spend the remaining money. And the ultimate secret to achieving this is automation. Let machines and algorithms do the work instead of fragile human willpower. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your investment account, like an S&P 500 fund, on the exact day your paycheck lands in your account. $10 a day, equivalent to about $300 a month. It automatically disappears into investments before you even get to see it, before you can even form the thought of shopping. When the money is no longer in your spending account, your brain will automatically adjust your lifestyle based on the little money left. You won't miss that $10, just as you don't grieve over the taxes deducted straight from your paycheck. This small action hacks directly into your brain. It completely removes the present bias from the equation. It protects your future self from the impulsive decisions of today. In conclusion, wealth is not determined by how much money you make. It is determined by how much you keep and how much time you give that money to multiply exponentially. The $10 in your hand today is not just a bill, it's a seed. You can greedily chew up that seed right now in exchange for 15 minutes of superficial satisfaction, or you can plant it in the ground. If you plant it, water it with patience, and protect it with automated discipline, it will silently grow into a giant ancient tree, providing you with financial shade for the rest of your life. The only question remaining now is, tomorrow, when you have $10 in your hand, what will you choose to do with your seed?